Good morning, it's 11:41. This is Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Bev.
Now, BBC, having alienated so many of its listeners on Radio 2 by getting rid of a lot of the older presenters, is now launching an additional digital service named Radio 2 Extra to try and get those older listeners back.
So, Boom radio host David Hamilton joins us now. David, thank you so much. I'm so glad we could make this work. We were going to talk to you yesterday, but in the end, we ran out of time on our show. So, listen, what are the BBC up to here? Why are they now having to backpedal on having alienated so many of their listeners?
Well, as you said some time ago, Radio 2 let their older presenters go, and they were aiming for a younger audience. So Boom Radio came along 4 years ago and has been a great success. And now the BBC wants to do their own version of Boom Radio and claw those listeners back. They are saying that they will have a completely different station. They will be celebrating important musical anniversaries, and they'll have the stories behind the song. But that's what we do. We're doing that anyway, so they're just going to copy what we're doing.
And the thing is, David, it's not fair competition, is it? Because they are insulated, subsidised by everybody because of the licence fee, £4 billion. They had their chance with the older generation at Radio 2. They blew it. And now they're trying to undermine you by setting up a direct rival.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's really like David and Goliath. I mean, we are a tiny station. Everybody's broadcasting from home. This is my home studio upstairs. This is where I broadcast from every day. And they have the facilities to promote their new station on all the television stations. They don't need advertising. The funny thing about it is that they've been making cuts in BBC local radio and pleading poverty. And there is no local radio now. Local radio is really regional radio because so many stations are networking shows. So where does the money come from? That's what I'd like to know. Where are they getting the money from to do this? It's a very uneven playing field, and as you say, it really is very unfair.
David, do you mind if I tell the audience your age?
If you know it, you're welcome to...
Well, I know it.
Well, if the internet is right, you are a remarkable 86.
And here's the thing, David. I wrote this in my column the other day in the Mail. You may not have spotted it. David Hamilton has just signed a new contract with Boom Radio at 86, and he said, I hope my contract lasts longer than I do.
I did see it in your column. As a matter of fact, thank you very much for that, by the way. I did mention it on my show later in the day. But yes, I mean, if you're 86 and you're offered a 2-year contract, it's quite remarkable, isn't it? So obviously they think that I'm going to be here for a while yet. But it's great. I mean, I love my work. Why would you retire? You don't retire from something you love. So you only retire from a job that's boring. So I should just go on, I hope.
And what are you better at now at 86 in your job than you maybe weren't as good at when you were 26?
Well, that's a very good question. One thing that has changed is you can't say a lot of things that you used to say.
Yeah.
I used to say very cheeky things on the radio, but almost anything you say that is cheeky now is going to offend somebody. So I have to think twice. I have to say the second thing that comes to my mind and not the first. Can I just say quickly, coming back to the BBC, was that, you know, I worked for the BBC for 25 years in the 60s, 70s and 80s, and in those days it was a wonderful organization to work for, and its news service around the world was just regarded as the most impartial and unbiased, and I don't think people would say that today. And that there's been such a change in the BBC that it saddens me. And with this particular thing, I mean, for them to I think they're better than that, and they should be bigger than that rather than copying somebody else and doing what they're doing.
David, you're amazing. You are amazing. And we thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really hope that I could be as switched on as that. And
he's a legend. You are a legend, David Hamilton. I used to listen to you when I was a young man, very young boy. I
thought you were similar age, you two.
If I look like anything half as good as that at that age, my word.
Isn't he amazing?
We've got to read a statement out. We have to read these statements because it's called Balance. Lorna Clark, the BBC's Director of Music, said, our music extensions allow us to support new music, showcase British talent, resurface performances from our unrivalled archive and to help audiences, I'm reading it as boring as I can because it's so boring, audiences discover a greater range of music
than what's available on the market. Now then, Let us know your thoughts on all of that. gbnews.com/your say.